for tuning in, where we provide knowledge and information in today's market. And we have Jeremiah here, and he will definitely let us know and give us insights on how today's market look. We're going into winter season, so we want to make sure you guys are equipped and ready. So, Jeremiah, for anyone who doesn't know, introduce yourself.
Yeah, no, thanks. My name's Jeremiah. I'm a loan officer with Guild Mortgage, and I do all the home loans, all the financing, all the numbers, all the credit, all the things. And I think it's important that we talk about what's going on right now because we're in December. It's December 4th and Q4. And usually people don't buy or sell in Q4, right? So, how do we win?
Absolutely. Because, I feel like people just have that mentality. Hey, it's the winter, it's the holidays. I we don't have time. I feel like I hear that a lot, right?
Yeah.
But what happens in winter when fewer buyers are active? Like, how does that benefit a buyer who don't wait?
Yeah. Well, people that are not waiting, right? Like people that are getting into the market know exactly what's going on and what to prepare for. So they see, what their approval looks like. They know what their numbers look like. They know exactly the home that they're looking for and all those kinds of things, right? So if you're prepared for that process, then during the winter times, people that are selling and all the details, right? Moving, they got jobs, they got kids, like whatever's happening, there's a reason for it, right? So usually you can get some good deals during that time because people don't want to have to do this whole thing, right? But you can, you know, not sleep and get up
Absolutely.
and buy a house.
Yeah, and once the new year comes, which as you can tell, I felt like 2025 just like blew by.
Good.
So once 2026 is here, it hits, taxes come in, right? And we
Mhm.
always see a surge. Can you explain what the does with competition and affordability?
Yeah, no, good question, right? So, like, you have a window of opportunity every year, basically, as a buyer to get into the market with like a better deal, potentially, right, than you would have earlier in the year, right? So,
Yeah.
if you think of like the busy season, I would say that starts between like February, March, and that lasts all the way, in my opinion, till like October, November. And then you have like right after Thanksgiving and kind of in that, couple weeks where it starts, you have from like November to December to January to February to really get in with a really strong offer and a strong negotiation, right? So whether that's like a seller credit, lower purchase price, repairs, whatever it might be. But if you wait and you're like, nah, I'm not gonna do it because we got the holidays, we got Halloween going on, we got Christmas, we got New Year's, I'm gonna get back to the gym, I'm gonna start eating the whole 30, whatever it is, and you wait, then you get into everyone else that's doing the same, right? So all the people that have been waiting in the markets are like, well, oh, okay, the sun's coming out again, so maybe we should go shopping. And that's usually like what, mid and March, I would say, in our area. And then you're in competition with all those people. And what does competition do? It increases supply and demand, right? So then home prices go up even if interest rates go up as well. And a lot of people believed that, oh, well, we'll wait for home prices to fall down. I just talked to someone this morning and she said that they've been waiting for 3 years for home prices to decrease. 3 years since 2022 because they've been told by their real estate agent that, mortgage rates are going to fall down and, home prices are going to decrease too. I don't know who that realtor is, but they don't know anything, right? It's because that's not true because
Wow.
it's not true, right?
Because three
So,
years ago, they probably could have saved by just moving forward then than how it is now. Like our
yeah.
median sales price for both Reno and Sparks is right below 600K, which is at 590,000, which is mind blowing, right? And if we're looking in Reno, it's above 600. So how much was that 3 years ago?
Yeah, like how, and that's exactly what she said. She's like, we've spent all this time like waiting for home prices to decrease and rates have continued to go up and then started to go down. And she's like, and home prices are still going up. So she's like, we just have to get into the market. And so, what is that saying? Like, buy and wait, don't wait to buy.
Mm-hmm.
Because if they would have bought, they would have equity at this
Equity.
point.
At this point, yeah, where a lot of people I know too that I'm seeing that have bought 3 or so years ago are selling and moving to a neighborhood that they like because they can due to the equity that they've built, right?
Mm-hmm.
So,
Exactly.
I say really look at the affordability, like what can you afford? Look at that versus rate. Because if you're going to wait on that
Yeah.
rate, that's going to, your payment might keep going up if you wait.
I mean,
So,
it literally did, yeah. So it's
yeah.
like, do you want to wait on rate? Do you want to wait on price? If you can, it's still, or if you want to, you can. It's just, I guess you like to pay more money for things, but a lot of people
Mm-hmm.
don't, right? So like a lot of people don't like to spend money that they don't need to. So getting in before you have to pay more makes a lot of sense to me, at least. So like now, if we look at like November, December, January, February, those are your little, time periods of golden opportunities before everyone gets back into the market, for summer, spring, and fall. And that's when you see a lot more competition.
Absolutely. So just like to piggyback, you said a lot of people are waiting for that perfect moment. Why is it smarter to definitely start the process? Like, is there a specific time frame that a person should try till you think they'll be ready?
Yeah, I
Ideally.
always tell everyone to start at least like 4 to 6 months before you plan to move into the home, right? Like, so if your lease ends, January, we should be talking like August, maybe even like June, July, September timeframe to get everything ready. Because, let's say it takes 2 weeks to get all your stuff together, right? Because you got to go down to the who knows where and get this and that and we get everything done and then it takes another month to find a house and another month to close, so you have little things, right, that add up all this time. There are definitely things that people are like, I got pre-approved yesterday, I found a house today, I'm closing tomorrow, kind of thing. Like that happens, right? But not super often. So
Yeah.
I would say at least 4 to 6 months.
Yes, because I've had scenarios like, oh, my lease ends here. I will check then. No, you can see where you're at about 6 months ahead of time or so. That way you can prepare, right? So, this is another question I've been getting a lot lately in the last couple of days, actually. Does starting a pre approval process or checking programs hurt people's credit? And a lot of
Good question.
viewers worry a lot about that.
Yeah, no, good question. So there's three things I'll talk about with this. So number one, you can do a soft pull on credit that doesn't hurt your credit score because there's no inquiry. The second thing is that if you do a hard credit pull, it really only hurts your score maybe 2, 3, 4, 5 points. So online on creditkarma.com or annual credit report or your banking app or whatever it is, it's going to show, oh my gosh, your credit dropped 1,000 points. That's not true. It may be dipped 3 or 4, right? So in reality, that's the real piece of it versus what you'll see online. The next thing that everyone believes that's not true is that if you get your credit pulled by a mortgage person, and you want to shop around and you get it pulled in 30 days or 2 weeks or 21 days, that it's going to be the same score. That is a lie. It is not true because your credit score is based on whatever accounts update to your credit report, right? So, like, if you get your credit pulled on December 4th and December 5th, your American Express updates every month, we're going to get two different scores. You're going to get one on the 4th, one on the 5th. That's totally different because you had an account change. There's no rule, there's no law, there's no algorithm that says if you get your credit pulled by a lender that you have this like free window of time. Any inquiry hurts your score, right? Like if you get your credit pulled by 10 lenders in 2 days, you're going to have 10 inquiries in 2 days, right? So I think it's important that people know that. And so if we tie that down to why it's important. If you're wanting to get a pre-approval, you just need to run credit either in a soft pull and we can look at it and give you a full idea, or a hard pull, but your hard pull is going to last 120 days at least with
Mm.
Guild. So that's 4 months. And then if your pre approval expires, we don't have to run credit again at that point unless something's happened. So a lot of people worry about credit, but in reality, it's like I said, a couple points, and we just need to look at it to kind of figure it out. But don't like hold on to it, like don't run my credit. It's like, it's okay.
Absolutely. I love it. Thank you so much for explaining that, because that has, that's been like a hot, question lately, I feel like, within just even the last couple of days. So I just want to circle around because I know people don't hear these terms quite often. When we say deals, what are those deals? Like when we say we can negotiate some deals for clients, we are talking seller credit, closing costs. Like what does that all do, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, because they are different. Your down payment is different from your closing costs. And how can seller credit be a benefit for you as a buyer, right? So, what, in your standpoint, what is your take on that?
Yeah, no. So, what is a deal, right? And a deal is subjective to every person. Like we had one time where they wanted the china in the house, and that was like a good deal for them. So we're like, whatever, right? So, in terms of like what we're talking about more specifically, you have the seller credits, right? So, as a buyer, you have to put in some money into the deal, right? And the deal being the transaction. So, you have to put in a down payment of some amount most of the time. And then you have your closing costs that you talked about. And that is like the lending fees, the title fees, the appraisal, your taxes, the insurance, whatever it is. You have another bucket, and that is the seller credit. So you can use money from the sellers of the home you're purchasing towards your closing costs, or you could use it towards your interest rate as well.
Mhm.
You could also use it to pay out like mortgage insurance on conventional loans. Like there's so many things you can do with it, but it's just a little bucket of money. So when we're talking about getting a seller credit, if you have 20 people making an offer because it's June 15th and it's hot outside and everyone's shopping, you're not going to get a seller credit because there's another person out there that doesn't need it and isn't asking for one. But during the winter months, right, potentially if someone's listed their home and it's been on the market for a couple weeks or 2 months or whatever, and they're not getting anything, those people might be willing to give you some money to make the deal happen, right? So um,
Absolutely.
that's what I think. Is that what you're kind of thinking too?
Yes, 100%. And that's why this is the reason why we say it's a buyer's market, because you can get
Yeah.
deals. It's in the favor of a buyer. The ones that are out, as far as listings, they are needing to sell for the most part. So the ones that are out in the market, they do need to sell. They want to sell. They're very serious sellers. So as a buyer, you have the opportunity to get these credits, these deals, these things that, could help you and that could save you thousands. Because my last client, we were able to save over 25,000 worth of seller credit. So they were able to cover
Mm.
closing costs, their rent buyout, and all of the things, and even rate buy down. So imagine that.
Imagine that.
Imagine that, to almost over 25,000. So you never know. Ah,
It's
yes.
great.
So Jeremiah, just another question for you. Can you explain why there's no such thing as like too early to talk to a lender?
Yeah, I mean, there's no such thing as it as too early. Like, and the reason for that is like you don't know what you don't know, right? So if you're gonna say, "Well, I want to
Yes.
buy a home in 2 years," but like, do you know what to do to get ready to buy a home in 2 years? Someone I talked to yesterday was like, "I realized that you can't just Google all this information." It was like, yeah, like you actually have to talk to someone about it. Like it's complicated in a way, right? So in order for you to feel confident, I would say there's no like reason to wait, even if like eventually you want to buy it. Like if you're 18 years old and you're working at, I don't know, the local Trader Joe's or whatever, and you still want to get a house one day, like go talk to a lender. It's free. Number one, you get a review of all of the inner workings of loan approvals, credit score, how to structure down payments, and there's so many programs out there for people that cover like 100% of the down payment or 100% of the down payment plus part of the closing costs or all these different things. So I think a lot of people think it's out of reach, but it's definitely not.
Yes. Okay. Well, Jeremiah, thank you so much. This is exactly why I tell everyone make your move while others sleep, especially right now. The people who start now have the biggest advantage, so you get to prep, you have negotiation power, and then you can walk to 2026 ready instead of scrambling, right? So if
Yeah.
you're watching and you're thinking, maybe I should start, well, then we got you, right? I do have a 1 minute quick buyer form that helps me understand like what your goals are, lets me understand what your timeline looks like. And then if you'd like, I'll connect you with Jeremiah so he can also walk you through what you're eligible for. No pressure at all. So, and then if you want to connect with him directly, go ahead. Jeremiah, go ahead and tell the people, whoever watches now or later, how to contact you.
Yeah, you can send me a DM. You can text me at, my phone number, 775-771-8907. But also too, like you said, if you're sitting on the sidelines, you're watching this and you're like, oh, I don't know, I've got a bunch of debt or, I've got terrible credit, I got no job or, I just got divorced or like whatever it is, like, let's just look into it. There's really no harm in doing that. And so many people are surprised when we actually look at it.
Yes, and I know this is very normal, you guys, for anybody like that gets cold feet. They're like, "Yes, I want to. Give me information." And they're like, no, I don't know. I don't want to." Very normal. It happens. So, if that's you, I just want to keep you let you know that we got you. We want the best for you and we want to walk you through step by step. So, don't worry. We'll handle your situation with care.
Yeah, all love, no shade, no judgment. So, yeah, just reach out.
All right. Well, other than that, thank you so much, Jeremiah. Until next week. We'll
Okay,
keep
I'll
you
see
guys
you
posted.
then.
Bye.
Bye.